Okay, so what is agency? So when you take a listing, at the very beginning of that, it's got that agency disclosure. And when you write an RPA, it's got an agency disclosure. And now when you take a buyer broker agreement, it's got the agency disclosure. So whether you represent the buyer or the seller, if you have agency, if you are their agent, you have a higher level of duty to them than you do to the other party, but you still do have duties to all parties. So if your exclusive agency, or if I'm exclusively representing the seller, I have a fiduciary duty. That means that I have to treat I'm acting on their behalf as though it was my own financial assets at risk. Okay. I have to put them first. I have to put them ahead of my own gain. All right. Now, what are my duties to the other party? Diligence, trustworthiness. I can't lie about things. I can't intentionally mislead. And I have to disclose any and all material facts, meaning things that would affect someone's perception of value of that property. And that's the same for buyer's agents as it is for seller's agents. So if I'm the buyer's agent, I have agency with the buyer, I owe them a fiduciary duty. A lot of agents are really uncomfortable with dual agency. I get this all of the time from the agents calling me saying, "Well, I'm really uncomfortable. I don't feel comfortable representing both sides of a transaction." And what I say to that is, you don't understand agency, because it's really simple. The only thing that you need to remember is you should not disclose items to either party that are told to you in confidence. For example, I should not disclose to my buyer, if I'm representing both, I shouldn't disclose to my buyer that my seller would take something less than what they're asking for. So if I have a listing at, say, $500,000, I can't tell my buyer that my seller has told me they'll take 490 when writing the offer, right? I can't do that. That's not fulfilling my fiduciary duty to my seller. And likewise, I can't tell my seller, "Hey, I know this buyer's got a little bit more money in the bank and they'll probably come up," right? That's betraying my fiduciary duty to my buyer. What I can do is I can advise my buyer and walk them down mental exercises to figure out what they're comfortable offering. And I can disclose the existence and the amounts of other offers, if as long as they don't have a non-disclosure agreement. And likewise with my seller, I want to advise them as though it were me making the decision on how to go about making that decision. I'm not going to make any decision for my client. They have to make that decision. They have to own that decision, but they expect me to lead them down the mental pathway to arrive at a decision they're happy with. So the one type of agency you want to avoid at all costs is implied agency. Now, this is what happens when you're not someone's agent, but you act and behave in such a way that they could claim in a lawsuit that really you were their agent and that you owed them these duties and you didn't perform on them. Okay. This is a big part of what we're being protected from with these new form requirements. So you're either their agent or you're not their agent. And if you're not their agent, you're going to want to give them a form. Either you're going to let the seller know you're not their agent. In the case you're representing buyers and you're showing them FSBOs, your buyer wants to make an offer on a FSBO, you're going to get that non-agency with the seller. I believe that's the SNA. And likewise, if you're representing a seller only, you're going to want to get the BNA, buyer non-agency agreement.